as more PI companies come back into the market. I'll explain that. In that we used to have over 33 companies providing PI cover. We have less than 5 now. And that is set against the backdrop of the fact that in the residential sector alone, there are 500 million claims outstanding. So no wonder firms are pulling out at the moment. So we hope this will provide greater confidence for the PI market as well. Now, RICS will provide confidential feedback, improving standards. So this will be an educational process for our members as well. Lenders and investors will have greater confidence in what we do as they get consistency. And this is something they're telling us they currently do not get from us. They get consistency in reporting formats, consistency in definitions, and consistency in valuations. And who knows, maybe even greater valuation accuracy. The government, they get confidence in professional self-regulation. Therefore, no intervention necessary. And also confidence in their own public sector professionals. Public, they get consumer protection and trust. And we've talked about the Royal Charter and the obligations this places on the RICS. Analysts will have greater confidence in our investment valuations. Therefore, what we're saying is that everybody benefits from this scheme. Okay, what is a Red Book valuation? As I said before, you probably know this, but we'll just quickly run through it. Well, the scheme will apply to the following valuations: loan security work, financial reporting, or asset valuations, as they're known in the public sector particularly, investment portfolio performance, takeovers and mergers, and stock exchange. Now, these last 3 are what we call regulated valuations, and that's regulated by the FSA. Then we've got purchase reports with a written valuation. I've put there a home buyer report, which is effectively a purchase report with a written valuation. But of course, the home buyer report is specifically mentioned in the Red Book. And finally, valuations provided for reliance and use by third parties. Now, this captures quite a lot of valuation activity. So if you're unsure, you should refer to PS 1.2 of the Red Book for any exceptions. And these will include things such as agency work, litigation, internal valuations, any statutory type work, and contractual work as well. Okay, who can join the scheme? Well, if you qualified as a member prior to the 1st of October 2011, anyone can join the scheme. This includes members, fellows, and associates. If, however, you qualify on or after the 1st of October of this year, you can only join the scheme if you qualified at final assessment with competency in valuation to level 3 for chartered members or level 2 for associate members. The scheme is not available for non-members, student members, or trainees. Basically, when you've joined the scheme, you can call yourself an RICS registered valuer. There's no firm designation because it's a members' scheme only. And of course, if you're retired and if still enrolled, you can continue to use the designation. There's a couple of screenshots here. That's the global member directory. You're probably familiar with that. And the Find a Surveyor website. That is where you'll appear as an RICS registered valuer. Okay, how can you register? Well, it says there's 2 ways. There's actually 3. The first way is as a sponsored member in a firm regulated by RICS. The second way is as a non-sponsored individual. The third way is if you work for the public sector. And I'll talk about that in a bit. Of conduct, there must be a designated contact officer, and you must use regulated by RICS on all your notepaper and letter work and so forth. Okay, so if you're a sponsored member from a regulated firm, basically we will have the activities at the top. We will already have the PI insurance details, we'll have the possibly the activities of the firm, although we'll ask you to complete the valuation activity for the firm. We'll have the training programs for the individuals of that firm. We'll have a complaints handling procedure already, and we'll have the type of work that the firm does. Basically what happens here, the contact officer, he sponsors members. He basically goes into the system and nominates members he wants to register. Once he's done that, the registered valuer goes into the portal, under the members portal, and fills in their bits. And I'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a minute. As a non-sponsored member, because we won't have those top things I just talked about, we'll ask the non-sponsored member for all those items. So that's the PI insurance, the complaints handling procedure, the training, CPD, the type of work they do, the volumes, the valuation activity. We'll also ask them about personal conduct as well. And personal conduct is basically about any criminal convictions or any type of financial irregularities, shall we say. In this case, of course, the member pays the fee, as opposed to a sponsored member where the regulated firm pays the fee. So this is sponsored members. So once the firm's done their bit, we ask the members to do it. And basically what we're asking for is their employer details. They might work for more than one company. Of course, this is confidential. The firm does not see this information. We'll ask them for their experience in valuations. So we're looking for things like quantity of valuations, the amount of values that they do, the types of property they do, the geographical area they work in, and also the conduct issues that I mentioned about before. This is basically the firm portal, where the firm goes in and sponsors its members, basically fills in the details. And that's where it's basically a tick box exercise. Now, a non-sponsored member, as I say, they have to give us all the information that we haven't already got. So again, this is employer details, the companies they work for, experience in valuation, again, the same information, geography, the scope of the work they do, the conduct. But again, we ask for this, the PI insurance, the complaints handling procedure, and the redress mechanism, and also their CPD requirements as well. And here's a couple of screenshots. That's the member portal where you do this work, and you fill in the boxes accordingly. Okay? Okay, fees. Now, the management board, basically who set the fees, set out certain things. One of the things they set out was the fact it has to be non-profit making. It must only cover its cost. It's an annual fee. They also said that it's only members within the scheme basically should pay for the scheme. It's £120 per valuer in a firm per annum, regulated by RICS on a sliding scale, and I'll give that scale in a minute. If you're a non-sponsored member, it's £140 per annum. That's the sliding scale I talked about earlier. As you go down, you fill in the box. So basically, if you've got 251 plus members in your firm you want to sponsor, you will be paying £16,930 for the first 250 and then £10 for every valuer after that. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so this is how the scheme will work. Basically, the information we collect from you initially is risk assessed. Basically, so this is the information we collect from the regulated firms and also the information we collect from members when they do their bit. It's all risk assessed. We look at it, look at the outcome. If we think there's a problem, we'll basically call you up and say, right, we want to monitor your valuation activity. So it could be desktop monitoring, where we call the files in, we nominate certain files, and basically do the monitoring that way. Or, if it's probably a bit more serious, or if it suits you, we'll come out and have a chat with you, and it'll be a site-based visit. If we think it's more serious, there may be an interview process involved. Whatever happens, there will always be an outcome, and that will be a confidential report to you that we ask for your feedback on. As I said before, this is designed to be an educational process. What we do not want to do with people is beat them over the head with the red book. Okay, so it's a question of, here's the outcome, please comply with this, and of course if you do, we'll check up, it's not a problem. If you don't, however,